Alright, so today I start cutting. This will probably take me a few days. Well, if I spent all day I could do it, but... So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to cut out the motor mounts, and debating on cutting out the track bar bracket yet. I might wait. I want to cut the motor mounts out, throw the motor in with the motor mounts, tack them up, figure out the rear, or not the rear, but the transmission cross member, pull everything out, buzz it all up, and then tackle the axles, because I also have to cut out this bracket, and there's a new one that's going to weld in, as well as the rear hanger. Other than that, well, I also want to cut out the rear track bar, since it does its job for a stock vehicle, but for what I'm trying to do, it has no use. Here's the axle situation. So it's front and rear 10 bolts, unfortunately 273 gears, but that'll change eventually. I'm just trying to get this thing on the road. So instead of doing high steer, I'm just going to do crossover. So I had a flat top knuckle I had machined by WFO Customs. It was fairly cheap. I just threw it in like a little flat rate package and sent it out to them. They're pretty quick about it too. So I got that machine, got their studs, their high steer, well, not their high steer, but their crossover steering arm. So right now I need to blow off the brakes, the knuckles, pull the axles out, and then I'm gonna throw seals in. I have new brakes, new rotors that I'm going to throw in, as well as those new G2 locking hubs. For the rear, I don't even know. I'm thinking about just running it. It doesn't look like it was leaking, the rear brakes. So I'm debating on taking the drums off and throwing wheel cylinders in it, but we'll find out. I'm gonna have to cut these perches off. The front will bolt in with this kit I've been putting in the Jeep, but the rear I'm gonna have to cut those off and buy some new ones, or try and reuse those. We'll see how it goes taking them off. Pretty much just using a death wheel. Well, that's one down, one to go. Alright, so here's a few hours progress. Took out the two front brake lines, cut the fuel lines back a ways, since I'm gonna have to run a fuel pump and a filter return line deal back there. So I've got one mount completely cut off and ground down. Just got the second mount cut off. It's not very pretty. It takes a lot of time to grind all that out. Unfortunately, I don't really have a better way other than the old death wheel. So slowly but surely, I ended up having to cut the steering linkage in half because it had totally seized. Tried to heat it up, smashed on it some while I was tugging on it, even put vice grips on it and tried to hammer it in, but nothing worked. So I'll have to figure that out. I might cut it off here and make my own little slip deal. We'll figure it out. I almost wonder if I want to say the Cherokees have a very similar design. Let's see if I can't make something work. So I've got the motor mounts completely cut out and ground down. I kind of gave up halfway through on this one because it was close enough. Apparently it's 4.5 inches from this hole for the kit that I bought. So it's all ground down on both sides, ready to go in. I've got to pull the cross member off of the transmission, and then I'm going to lift the Jeep up with the engine hoist like I did to pull the transmission, slide it under with the transmission jack, and then I'm going to swing this garbage 5-3 I have into place with the motor mounts, get them tacked into place, lift the transmission where I want it, and build the cross member, and then pull it all out and burn it together, paint it. So should be a lot of work, but we'll see how it goes.